Good
Chair, it
afternoon.
looks,
Yeah. Are we
just
set, Tom?
confirming, yeah, we're all set. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, good afternoon. Welcome to the City of Albany Industrial Development Agency meeting. Today is Thursday, December 16th. I'm Susan Petto. I am the chair. Please let the record note that all of our board members are here, with the exception of Anthony Gaddy, who is excused from this meeting. He's actually on a task force in which he is providing testimony to the governor on MWBE enterprise. So we'll look forward to hopefully him joining us later if possible. We also would like to welcome our new board members. We have with us today Liz Staubach and Joseph Better, who for whom this is their very first meeting. And we'd love for you guys to introduce yourself real briefly. Well, we can start with Liz.
Hi, I'm Liz Staubach. Lived in Albany now for about 20 years and have a background in planning, economic development, local government policy stuff. But I look forward to working with all of you. I know there's a lot of familiar faces, but look forward to working with everybody. So thank you.
Thanks, Liz. Joe?
Yep. Hi, everybody. Joe Better. And I've lived in Albany now for almost 10 years. My background is in contracts and procurement for the state of New York, but also having familiarity with other entities such as municipalities. And I'm really looking forward to being able to help better serve my community, putting my skills to use. So thank you.
Thank you, Liz and Joe. We're so happy to have you on board and have a full board at this point in time. Liz and Joe did go through a rigorous process with the Albany Common Council. There were a lot of really outstanding candidates, and we are really glad to have both of your insight and expertise to add to the IDA. So thank you, welcome, and we are here at any time when you have questions or need any backup information. You'll find the staff is really, really helpful and responsive. And we have you jumping in to the deep water because there's a lot going on here. So don't hesitate to ask any questions that you have as we go along. We will start then with a motion to dispense with a reading of the minutes of the November 16th meeting. And in the same motion, we'd like to consider approval of those same minutes since they have been previously dispensed, and hopefully everyone's had a chance to review them.
So moved.
Thank you, Darius. Second?
Second.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lee. All in favor? Aye.
Aye. Aye.
The minutes of the November 18th, 2021 meeting stand approved.
I have a quick question. Am I allowed to vote on that one? Just because we weren't here for
I
that?
think
You're still,
we have quorum, so we could reflect that the two new members have abstained from voting on the minutes for this one. We're still good without the two of you on that one. Everything else, though, fair game.
Okay, yeah, just
Okay.
wanted to double check. Thanks.
Thanks.
all right. We will move to the report of the Chief Financial Officer, Tom.
Thank you. In your packets is a copy of the November 21 cash position. For the year to date, revenues have continued to exceed expenses. Revenues totaling approximately 1.3 million, expenses around 975,000. Ending balance for the year is around $3.2 million.
Thank you, Tom. Any questions or concerns? Okay, then we'll move on to unfinished business. Our primary agenda item here is 21 Erie Associates, which received zoning board approvals last week. And Andy, are you going to kick us off with a project synopsis on this?
Sure.
Great.
The proposed project involves a approximate $65 million historic renovation and conversion of a 225,000 square foot warehouse on Erie Boulevard into approximately 260 market rate apartments and approximately 48,000 square feet of commercial retail space. This project is seeking sales and mortgage recording tax exemptions only. was previously discussed at length at prior finance committee meetings. As the chair noted, there was a slight delay from when we held the public hearing and last discussed this project in October to now, due to the project seeking final planning board approvals. Of note, at that October public hearing, no comments were received from the public. Additionally, representatives from Redburn are here with us today to answer any outstanding questions that we may have.
Okay, any general questions or comments on the project? We have discussed this at a number of different meetings. We've reviewed it very thoroughly with the applicants and staff. So we'll move into the seeker resolution then. I will take a motion, please, for approval of the resolution confirming seeker determination for 21 Erie Associates LLC project.
So moved.
Darius, do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Joe. Any discussion or questions on this specific resolution? If not, I'll call for a vote on the resolution concurring in the determination by City of Albany Planning Board as lead agency for the environmental review of 21 Erie Associates LLC proposed project. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? All right, the motion stands approved. We will move to the next resolution. And we will take a motion to bring to the table a commercial retail findings resolution for 21 Erie Associates LLC project.
So moved.
Thank you, Darius. Second.
I'll second
Second.
again.
Okay, thank you, Joe. Any further discussion on this specific resolution? If none, we will move to a vote on this resolution, determining that the proposed 21 Erie Associates project is a commercial project and making certain findings required under the general municipal law. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, the motion stands approved. And we'll take a motion, please, approve for the approving resolution for 21 Erie Associates LLC project.
So moved.
Thank you, Darius. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Lee. Any further discussion or comments on this resolution? If none, we will take a vote, please, on this resolution authorizing execution of documents in connection with a leaseback transaction for this project for 21 Erie Associates. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion stands approved. All right, thank you, everybody. That is all we have for unfinished business. So we will then move into new business. The first item on the new business calendar is Albany Medical Center. Andy, will you take us through that, please?
Absolutely. I would like to note that representatives from Albany Medical Center, as calendars get compressed as we approach the holidays, were not able to be with us here today. I would like to note that they have been with us over the course of numerous meetings to discuss and answer any questions from the board on the request at hand. I will go into a slightly longer synopsis of the request at hand for the benefit of Liz and Joe as well right now. As background, in 2014, the City of Albany IDA approved the Albany Medical Center Medical Office Building located at 391 Myrtle Ave. The project involved a pilot agreement relating to the privately leased portions of the building, as well as tax exempt and taxable bond issuances to finance the building's construction. Those issuances were concurrently approved through the City of Albany Capital Resource Corporation. Because Albany Med anticipated having both private and tax exempt uses in the building fluctuating over time, The pilot agreement laid out two scenarios for calculating the pilot payments, which were generally based on the percentage of private occupancy within the building. Per the pilot agreement, the project was required to submit annual tenant affidavits certifying the building's square footage to determine which of two scenarios would be used when calculating the pilot payment. Over time, however, as percentages of private occupancy shifted, the formula became increasingly difficult to administer on an annual basis. That resulted in significantly more square footage of the building being taken up by Albany Med versus private occupancy than was originally anticipated. Furthermore, in 2019, the City of Albany Capital Resource Corporation approved a reallocation of the tax exempt and taxable bonds to better align with the actual allocation of hospital versus private use of the property. The current request at hand of the agency involves an amendment to the pilot agreement to first reduce the amount of square footage subject to the pilot agreement, and second, provide that scenario two, the scenario two pilot structure, will be in effect for the remainder of the pilot term through 2028. This amendment will align the pilot agreement with the reality of the hospital private tenant use breakout and also reconcile the pilot agreement allocation with the current CRC bond allocation.
Okay, thank you. Liz and Joe, don't hesitate to ask any questions on this one. This was very complicated. And staff did a really great job working with Albany Medical Center to come to a what I think is a really strong resolution here. Does anyone have any questions or comments on this? Okay.
This does take effect as of January 1st, correct? Once it passes?
I believe that is the intent, yes.
Okay. Yeah, just want to make sure for billing purposes.
Yes,
Yeah.
and we'll confirm with the hospital and circle back, Darius, with your office.
Okay. If no further discussion is needed, we will take a motion to bring to the floor a resolution authorizing the amendment to the pilot agreement for Albany Medical Center Medical Office Building at 391 Myrtle Avenue project.
I'll move it.
Thank you, Darius. Second, please.
I can second.
Thank you, Lee. Any further discussion, comments, questions? If none, we will take a vote on this resolution authorizing the execution by the City of Albany Industrial Development Agency of a certain first amendment to payment in lieu of tax agreement and related documents in connection with the Albany Medical Center Medical Office Building project. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, the motion is passed. Thank you again to staff and to the folks at Albany Medical Center who worked so hard on this one. All right, under new business, we will next be taking up the resolutions for professional services agreements for next year. We will start with the professional services contract. Tom, did you want to take us through that? Or Andy or Sarah?
Sure.
We'll take them one at a time.
So the first agreement is the professional services agreement. That's between Capitalize Albany Corporation, the IDA, and the Capital Resource Corporation. This agreement, or all these agreements, was reviewed by the Finance Committee last week and came out of Finance Committee with a positive recommendation. And just to note for the record, Capitalize Albany's, we did not, we were in the room at the time of the conversation, but we discussed that with the Finance Committee. Just want to note, it's for about $500,000. It's a little less than $500,000. And this is the agreement that we used to staff to provide services for the IDA.
So, and
Thank
maybe
you.
just a little bit of extra background for the new members in particular. Capitalize Albany Corporation has typically had a management agreement with the IDA and CRC for professional services. That is what this one is. So this is all of the administrative function of the IDA being performed by some of the faces that you see around the Zoom today, and then also some of the black boxes that you see at the bottom coming in. It's everything from project services to monitoring and compliance to public relations and media relations. All of those pieces are carried out by the staff here. We did offer to recuse ourselves at the Finance Committee meeting. The committee did not take us up on that. We would offer to recuse ourselves again today. For you to know as well, we do have one board member that is an overlapping board member between the Capitalize Albany Corporation and the IDA CRC. That is Tony Gaddy, who isn't present today. Were he present, he would be recusing himself or abstaining from these votes as well.
Okay. Do any board members have any preference that staff recuse themselves for these votes? If not, we will proceed with the first resolution. I'll take a motion, please, for the City of Albany Industrial Development Agency Professional Services Agreement Resolution 2022, with Capitalize Albany Corporation.
So moved. I'll second.
Thank you, Bob. Second, Darius. Any further discussion or questions on this specific agreement? Okay. If not, we will take a vote on this resolution authorizing the execution and delivery by the City of Albany Industrial Development Agency of a professional services agreement with Capitalize Albany Corporation. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion is carried. And we'll move to our second resolution and agreement. This is the City of Albany Industrial Development Agency Contract for Services Approval Resolution 2022 with Capitalize Albany Corporation. Can we have a motion to bring this to the table, please?
So moved.
Thank you, Bob. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Darius. Any further questions or comments on this resolution? Okay, if none, we'll take a vote on this resolution authorizing the execution and delivery of a contract for services with Capitalize Albany Corporation in connection with the undertaking of the Economic Development Program. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion is carried. And we'll take a motion to bring to the table a resolution for the City of Albany Industrial Development Agency Contract for Services Acceptance Resolution for 2022 with Capitalized Resource Corporation. Can we have a motion?
Moved.
Second.
Bob and Darius second. Any further comments or questions on this resolution? If none, we'll take a vote on this resolution accepting a contract for services with the City of Albany Capital Resource Corporation and authorizing the execution and delivery of such contract in connection with the execution and delivery of a professional services agreement with Capitalize Albany Corporation. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion is carried. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. Looking forward to another good year.
Thank you, guys.
Absolutely. All right, the last item of new business that we have is the Capitalize Albany Corporation Liberty Park Acquisition Assistance. Joe, I think you're going to take us through this and hopefully break this out a bit for the new members. I will recuse myself as a former member of Capitalized Albany Corporation's board and a member of the Liberty Park Committee as well. So I think staff will be.
Staff will also
recused as well.
all be recusing ourselves because of it is Capitalize Albany's application to the board. And for the new members, Capitalize Albany staff has been recusing themselves from the outset, from the time of application on this project. We'll continue that throughout. So we'll head into a waiting room now if someone can place us there.
And Lee, if you can, then as vice chair, keep the meeting running. You can probably take this right through the vote on the resolution. And then if you want to bring us in after the resolution is voted on and new businesses we can see if there's any further new business and move into other business from there.
All right, let me just make sure I got the.
Yeah,
Yes, I
Lee,
think,
Lee, we had talked about Darius kind of being the sub chair on Liberty Matters. If you want to chair this, that's okay, but we have been using Darius in this capacity on these.
No, that's what I had thought too. So Darius, if you want to take that, that's fine. I pulled it up, but yeah, no, that's fine.
Yep.
Yeah, it's fine. I have to toggle back and forth between my materials here, but I guess I just start with a general overview. I think it's just that this is Liberty Park, which is a section otherwise known as the parking lot district. Right now, it's where the original idea was to put the convention center in decades ago. The Capitalize Albany has acquired the vast majority of the acreage down there in order to essentially, develop the parcels into something more than just a parking lot. The last sticking point has been several parcels that the owners were not willing to divest themselves of. And so in order to basically complete the parcelage down there, because attempts at economic development down there have been stymied because of the ownership, the split ownership of these parcels. So we wanted to unify the ownership, and we initiated an eminent domain proceeding at the behest of Capitalize Albany to take the parcels for value, so that the whole area can be economically redeveloped. So I think we've won in the appellate division, the case that will allow the eminent domain taking to proceed. And what we have to deal with right now are the next steps in that, and authorizing, the IDA and I think Lee in this case, to take necessary next steps. Joe, have I left anything out?
No, that's a very good summary. And with respect to the proposed action today, it's to authorize a resolution or adopt a resolution which authorizes moving forward with the making of an offer with respect to the acquisition of those parcels. The issue that we may want to go into executive session to discuss is the issue of, once we move forward to formally make an offer on the parcel, that commits the agency to the payment of the purchase price for those parcels. And we expect that potentially that issue will be determined at a second court proceeding where there'll be competing appraisals. And so what we have been doing on your behalf as counsel, special counsel to the IDA, is working through issues with Capitalize Albany Corporation to provide or to assure that there's sufficient money available to pay the purchase price for those parcels. And Darius, what I would suggest is that to go into further detail here, that this come under advice of counsel and the acquisition of real estate, and that we go into executive session, assuming that you want to get additional detail on this, which I would suggest.
Yeah, that's fine. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Oh, I'll second.
Bob and Lee. All right, so let's go into executive session for the purposes aforesaid.
Yep.
Lee, did we take the vote on that, and are we all set?
So Chair, just to let you know, we actually, Darius, subbed
actually-
in.
Yeah, sorry, we should still be recused because we're not finished with Liberty Park yet. We came back into open session.
We'll make the motion once you guys leave. Get the
Yeah,
Okay, in a
resolution out of the
minute.
way and then we're done, huh?
yeah, hold on a second.
We're good to go?
We just
Not
have
quite
one
yet.
more.
Here.
Actually,
We
three
actually
more.
have, yeah, a handful.
Okay.
So Susan, Renee, Ashley, and I.
See, did we lose Darius?
Nope,
Okay, good. Great.
I'm here. I'm just on the, I have to toggle between screens, so I think my face is frozen right now.
I'm sorry to hear that.
I thought that was a brain freeze.
That's already happened.
So it looks like we're on YouTube and recording. So back to you, Darius, with respect to
Okay.
report on what, if anything, took place in executive session and the next steps.
Yeah, we went into executive session, discussed some of the legal aspects of the motion that is in our materials. Essentially, it's about next steps that are required for moving the condemnation of the Liberty Park project to its completion. We have a motion in our materials, a resolution authorizing proceeding with the Liberty Park acquisition project. The resolution authorizes further action with respect to this proceeding. And in specific, I do want to point out that we will be motioning to provide the chair, vice chair of the agency, the authorization to take all necessary actions to proceed in connection with the acquisition of the land parcels, including but not limited to the making of a formal offer pursuant to the EDPL. So we're, this is probably the most significant step. I think that it really goes on here at this stage because we've already won the proceeding and now we have to, there's no turning back now. So that's the motion that's on the table. Do I hear a?
Sorry, Darius. Sorry, the only thing I would add is that we will negotiate some of those conditions with respect to moving forward and we'll be reviewing them with you and then proceeding. Yes.
Correct. So the motion is in front of us, but it's not on the table officially. Do I have a motion to pass this resolution?
So moved.
Lee, second.
Second.
All those, any more discussion? All right, all those in favor, say aye.
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 All right. Resolution passes. And I think we can bring the rest of the meeting attendees back in so I can hand the gavel back to Susan.
Okay, was the vote taken?
Yes,
Mhm.
Okay, great. Thank you.
I hand the gavel back to you.
Thank you. Any further new business to be considered today? If not, we will move into other business and we will start with an agency update. Sarah, are you going to take that?
Yeah, great. Thanks, Chair. We have a couple of items here. The first being, and Tom's going to share his screen in a second here, but let me get back so I can see you guys. The first is that we have been invited to participate with the City of Albany in a meet and greet, essentially with new council members for the upcoming year. So that'll be next week, I believe on the 21st. It'll be all city agencies participating in that to go through a little bit of an overview of who we are, what we do, provide contact information, and that will help us really intro them. We will, as we discussed before, be reaching out to them individually to bring them in or to meet them in their wards to talk through economic development issues and also introduce them to the Industrial Development Agency over the next few months, but excited to be able to do that sort of holistic view next week with the city. The next piece, and Tom, before you share your screen, I just want to, again, sort of reflect on the resolutions that were just passed this afternoon. The second resolution under professional services were for economic development services. The Industrial Development Agency has traditionally supported Capitalize Albany Corporation in performing its economic development function. And so really the way, and particularly for the new members, as we bring you in for orientation, the way that we describe the local economic development picture in Albany is that Capitalize Albany really is the city's economic development arm. The city doesn't have direct economic development staff. They contract with Capitalize Albany for those services. The Industrial Development Agency is certainly our strongest and most important economic development tool. And so Capitalize Albany staff has traditionally helped to manage the administrative function of the Industrial Development Agency to keep those concerns aligned and make sure that we are moving the city forward and managing the expectations and needs of the current taxing jurisdictions as well. As part of that resolution that was passed, we do periodically throughout the year come back to you all with market updates, highlights from the economic development activity and program that is undertaken by Capitalize Albany. But here at the end of the year, we like to run through a little bit of the high level of what happened over the past year and what we're setting up for next year. So you all are going to receive, if you haven't already, in the mail, be looking out for our annual report at Capitalize Albany this year. It is very fancy. It's very nice. I can't wait for you to have it in hand. We're looking forward to having something returning to a model that has a physical component for next year as we start to meet with people in person more and more often, but it is hybrid. It'll be hyperlinked throughout, and there's some QR codes too to get people to additional materials. So look out in the mail for that. Tom, if you don't mind sharing your screen, thank you for doing that so I don't screw it up. We'll give you sort of a highlights of really the year in review for Capitalize Albany. There we go. So overall, there's some of the annual report that you'll see. We typically really align our function in-house with business development, real estate development, and strategic development. So I'll walk you through those areas. What you're going to find in your report when you have it is a project index that runs through a dozen or more active projects that we had been looking through over the year. There's also an overall investment map as well. But for some of the highlights in each of those areas, Tom, if you want to advance to the next slide. First up is business development. Some key highlights here. We did assist in 2021 more than 300 businesses at Capitalize Albany Corporation. And if you go to the next slide, Tom, as many of you know, we were really spending most of our business development time in COVID recovery and COVID relief with our small business grant programs, as well as our Support Small Money program, where we acted as a convener and liaison for local groups dedicated to economic development to be able to help small businesses navigate the ever-changing landscape throughout COVID. Our small business grants that the IDA was a significant portion of. Those grants that were ultimately made, 78% of them were made to minority and women-owned businesses in 17 neighborhoods throughout the city of Albany. So we were thrilled to be able to have the results that we were targeting on that front directly with small businesses, but also to help us deepen our relationships with our economic development partners region-wide. Moving on from small businesses to some of the biggest business that we're working with right now. We have been working for a little over a year now with the Port of Albany on wind workforce training opportunities. And we've really, again, for the past year, been taking a look at 15 Warren in the South End as particularly a welding training center to be able to create a pipeline of workforce to the port. They're going to need a couple of hundred welders, and we need to make sure that they can meet those targets to be able to meet the targets on the ground at the port. So more on that as we have it. And we do have a federal appropriation request into Senator Schumer's office, among a number of other grant applications for that facility. Do you want to head to the next one? That'll bring us to our real estate section of our report. Little bit of a high level overview, as you all well know, because you're involved in almost every real estate deal that happens in the city of Albany based on our tax structure. Over the past 5 years alone, we've done more than 1,500 units of affordable housing citywide. We are also tracking getting close to the 1,000 unit downtown residential number as well. We're very, very close to that one, but more than $600 million in multifamily. So if you advance to the next slide, Liberty Park, I'm thrilled to be able to move that from our strategic development sort of overview into our real estate development overview, based on being able to move forward with acquisition of the final pieces of Liberty Park. We can really start to build out a very visible and streamlined solicitation plan for redevelopment, hopefully over the next year, to be able to maximize the potential for that site. Again, based on the feasibility studies and concept plans that have been done for that site can really accommodate more than $130 million of investment, a mix of uses. And we're thrilled to be able to get that kind of acreage moving in a downtown is really just an immense opportunity. And it's been really laying underutilized for 20 years plus now. So we're excited to be advancing that as well. We can move to the next. Again, multifamily is our strongest sector at this point. You all have been critical in moving this forward, also identifying and recognizing that housing is economic development, particularly in markets like ours. It's creating an environment that attracts and retains talent to help drive commercial investment. It has also helped drive a significant amount of revenue, multiples of what would have come in otherwise, to the 99% of the time where those properties are previously vacant, blighted, or underutilized, where you have either a rehab or an infill property that comes online. The project that you see is our most recently opened in Park South. That's 105 Morris Street, probably the most blighted property in that neighborhood revitalization plan area. Being able to use multifamily as a tool to move past that blight and jumpstart the neighborhood has been amazing, and we see that citywide. On to the next. You all can see yourselves in those tiny little boxes up there. You are not only the most important economic development tool in the city, you're also our largest client at Capitalize Albany, and so we do manage, as you are very well aware, really more than 40 public meetings per year, in addition to all of the active projects, the project monitoring, and so that has been a significant portion of our book of work over the previous year as well. Moving next into Clinton Market. This is a fun one. This is exciting. It's our opportunity to repurpose what used to be a roadbed. So those of you familiar with construction, you'll know that roadbed means utilities underground. And so that site has been underutilized right in front of the federal building, really since it wasn't a roadbed. We have final designs and engineered drawings now to be able to move to bid in 2022 on the construction of Clinton Market, a dynamic and flexible sort of quasi-public space that will act as a dynamic destination and also help to be an incubator for small businesses in Albany. That was part of the Downtown Revitalization Initiative, which Capitalize Albany managed for the city of Albany as well. That moves us into strategic development. We like to say that strategic development is every sort of quirky project that doesn't have a home in the city lands with us here. So under strategic development, we do things like the Downtown Revitalization Initiative in Clinton Square. We also manage the city's Regional Economic Development Council process. Those awards were just announced this week. And I'm pleased to say that the city-based awards totaled more than $9 million citywide for diverse projects across the city. On that front, we get a little bit of everything, but some of the big ones for the past year, we go to the next slide. The first up here again is Clinton Market. Many of the projects that we do at Capitalize Albany, they really are business development, real estate development, and strategic development all in one. So now that we have our final designs really worked out, again, hundreds of participants helped to create the concept plan for Clinton Market through the Downtown Revitalization Initiative and the feasibility study that went into this. We are able to now start building out a business plan for the site to really start, figuring out who the anchor tenants are going to be, what that program of events will look like, and also any operations and management agreements that we need to have in place to be able to get this up and running, with a tight construction window next year as well. Moving on into Albany for All. Thank you to those of you who participated on the Mayor's Task Force for Albany for All. Many of you know that Capitalize Albany was the coordinator for this. So we convened that 41-member task force and held dozens and dozens of meetings, 60 plus meetings. We had 17 task force working group meetings throughout that created the final report that you all have had access to. We also helped work through the branding Albany for All for that prospect. That's going to be $25 million over the next year, probably additional in the following year, all aimed at building back better and COVID recovery. The city is managing that solicitation process now, and the scoring is going to be developed based on the report that was put together by the team here at Capitalize Albany. Moving into another major area that we've traditionally been involved with ever since the first pedestrian bridge to the river back in the early 2000s to the Skyway, which if you drive past now, the gateway structure is up, the trees are in, some of the snow fencing is up as well. That project is flying through. DOT is doing a fantastic job getting through construction of the Skyway. Capitalize Albany had been the group that not only identified the opportunity in the Impact Downtown Albany strategy, but also funded the original design and engineering and feasibility study with the Office of Parks at New York State, and then moved over to have management of construction at DOT. So we're excited about that one. We're not stopping at the Skyway though. We've been working with the city over the past year on their local waterfront revitalization plan, as well as looking for additional funding to conduct, basically it worked with the Skyway. Let's see what other additional iconic connections we can make to the river. We have an appropriation request out for that as well. And we expect that work to continue through 2022. So I think that gets you through our overview for 2022, looking beyond sort of getting back on our feet after COVID. Liberty Park is going to be our probably most major initiative, really working through redevelopment there, assuming that process moves forward. We also, are focused on Clinton Market, our ARP delivery. As I talked through, we're going to be rolling out our small business grant programs again, and the CRC has been involved with those. Traditionally, we're going to be able to release our more normal and traditional rounds of those citywide. So look for that in early 2022. And as you all have asked for, and we know it is time for our reboot of our project evaluation assistance framework. We like to affectionately call it the Matrix. We know that that's on the docket for next year as well. So that'll be taking up, a pretty intensive portion of our time as well. So that rounds out the Capitalize Albany year-end update. Happy to take any questions. And Tom, if you want to jump out of share screen, we can get back to just sort of sitting around the table.
Thanks, Sarah. We're looking forward to seeing hard copy of that. I haven't received it yet, but it is coming. We have seen some of the individual releases though. It was CAC has been releasing portions of the report daily. So for our new members, we know we bombard you with a lot of email and paperwork that what you probably received today would have come from Capitalize Albany Corp. With a heading of Pound Building Albany 2021. And today's topic was Momentum in 2021 is Shaping a Bright Future. But I think 3 or 4 of those have gone out already this week. So it's been really nice to get those in digestible pieces. And then we'll be receiving the full report in hard copy form shortly. Great work on that.
And Thank you. To your point, we have been, it's sort of week of economic development here at Capitalize Albany. So we've got a digital and social campaign that Mike is running us through now. If you haven't already signed up for our newsletters at Capitalize Albany, it's probably helpful to do that because we do try to give everyone a quick snapshot and insight into what's happening in economic development. It's a really easy way to sort of follow along the context of economic development in wider Albany. So you'll be getting that. And I do want to say, you see this team in the intensity of work that goes into managing the Industrial Development Agency. That is matched on the Capitalize Albany side of the house as well. So the folks that you see sitting around the table, it is really an honor and pleasure to get to work with them day in and day out. It's just a massive amount of progress moved forward by a very small team that is just dedicated and passionate and loves the city.
Sarah, maybe next month we could have a quick run through of some of the sites, some of the Twitter sites, some of the Facebook, Instagram sites, and make sure that everybody knows where those are and is signed up for those, so everyone can be on board with what's being sent out.
That's great. We can send that around too.
Thanks, that'd be great. All right, anything else for our agency update?
Sarah, I did have one question. The meet and greet on the 21st, do you have a time on that? Because I think I might be in New York City again.
That one is actually just, they want one representative from each group to be on that. So that'll just be me
okay.
at the table for that. So just as a heads up to let you know that we're going to be able to meet them officially and then start really establishing that relationship with the group.
Okay.
But thanks for checking.
Thank you.
All right, and thanks for doing that, Sarah, because I know it's much appreciated, especially by the new council members every year. All right, any other questions, comments on agency update? Do we have a compliance update today?
No, just want to note particularly for the new members that we are entering into compliance season and we've gotten a head start already, getting all of our documents to go out to project recipients. So just let you know, but basically our Paris reports are due at the end of March, as well as our audits. And so you'll be seeing a lot of information coming to the board related to compliance over the next few months.
And the Paris reports are the reports that the IDA and other authorities put together for the authority's budget office to show that we are in compliance with all state laws. And it provides really good project updates as well. And you will each, as board members, also be listed there. And so we usually send that out to you beforehand so you can review it and make sure that the information that's being submitted about you as a board member, as well as the projects you reviewed, is accurate.
And I'll also make a plug for the compliance section of our website. We do have copies of past Paris reports on there. So if you do have any questions or would like to see what the format of what that looks like, don't hesitate to either reach out to us or take a look at the compliance section of the website.
Okay, thank you, Tom. Anything else for compliance or other business? If not, we'll call for a motion to adjourn. Darius, second, please.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. We are adjourned at 1:10 p.m.